Hello, and welcome to the Black Money Matters podcast. I'm Pam Bakewell, Chief Advisor to the Chairman and Chief of Staff of Bakewell Media and the Los Angeles Sentinel. And today I'm honored to be joined by a dear friend and renowned leader, Deidra Porché. I have known Deidra for about a decade now, and I greatly admire her work as the National Head of Business and Community Development at JPMorgan Chase and as Regional Chair of the California and West Market leadership teams for the firm. She's dedicated to fostering resilient communities and making financial health and prosperity accessible to all. Deidra leads a national network of community managers across the lower 48 states who deliver educational workshops and connect communities to tailored financial resources. Through her leadership, JPMorgan Chase helps individuals, families, and businesses strengthen their financial resilience and build generational wealth, creating stronger, more vibrant neighborhoods. Deidra's commitment and expertise have earned her recognition on the Ebony Power 100 and the Los Angeles Business Journal's Women of Influence and Financial list. So let's get started. Well, welcome to Black Money Matters. I'm so happy to have you here, Deidra.
Thank
I want
you.
this to be as natural as possible because
Absolutely.
you and I have had several hallway conversations
Indeed,
already.
indeed. So much in common.
Yeah, I think we've had 3 podcasts before we even sat down to
That's
talk
right.
today.
I love it.
You know, I've told you privately, and
Mhm.
I'll say publicly, I have really admired you,
Thank you.
and I see you.
Thank
That's
you.
something very few people do say to people, but I
Mhm.
do, and I've noticed that, you escalated in the ranks. I've seen all your title changes. Don't ask me to repeat them because
That's okay.
because we will make sure the audience knows how much you have done and what you have excelled to achieve. I also
Appreciate
admire
it.
the fact that you are a mother and a wife and
Yes.
so many other things that we as women have to navigate. So I think
Mhm.
I'll kind of rename our podcast. We're going to call ourselves the Pivoters today.
Oh, I like that. That's fitting.
because I've had to pivot, and
We
as
have
you
to
talk to
pivot.
me,
We do.
you have 2 wonderful kids. I've already heard a lot about them, and we'll
Mhm.
share more with our audience
Okay,
later
great.
what they're doing. I have 5,
That's
um,
amazing.
and so
Remarkable.
um,
Wow.
and they're all successful in the world, but they're also
That's
good
amazing.
people, and I know you have the same thing. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome.
So glad to be here. And let me just
Yeah.
say how much I appreciate the invitation and the partnership. I too have watched you and admire the amazing work that you've done and what a role model you are.
Oh.
And so it's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mom. And I navigate to that because that's really where my soft heart, that's what keeps me going. And I'm grandmother too.
Oh,
So
I love that.
I'll just put that out there. But, one of the things we've talked about is having you share, what are those pivotal moments, if you look back, that shaped Deidra,
Sure. And I'm sure this will resonate. There's so many.
I know.
But the one that comes to mind is really first getting started in corporate America in the professional space. And so picture this. I'm walking in with a briefcase and a baby bag
Oh my
and a
goodness.
breast pump and
Oh my
and a
goodness.
stroller. So as a young
At
executive
Chase?
at Chase,
Oh, so
at
you've been
Chase,
there this
my
oh my
entire
goodness.
career. So I'm a
Wow.
little bit of a unicorn in that way. I've been at
Oh,
Chase my entire career, a little over 32 years.
wow.
And I was a young executive, a young manager, just starting a family. And so going into that space and being a leader and a manager, but also having the responsibilities of
Of
a
a
young
baby?
family
Oh,
was really one of the first things that I had to overcome. And you and I share also
oh,
just a deep and abiding faith in addition
amen.
to our
Yes.
priority of family.
Yes.
And I have to say, having my faith really helped me ground myself in the balance of leading a team, but then also being able to be there for my family. And so that was
Okay,
one of the
you have
first.
to back up.
Okay.
First of all, how did Chase respond to you walking in with a baby bag and a
So
briefcase?
exactly, right,
Because that's
right.
corporate America.
It
They didn't.
is. It
That was a
is.
different time.
So one of the reasons that I've been so happy at Chase is the way in which they've been there for
Wow.
me in the moments that matter. And so they had childcare available for your return to work.
Wow.
They provided childcare that was near your work, and provided top level care, a center that they Bright Horizons was the name of the organization, but they contracted with childcare to make sure that at the time moms, now moms and dads, could have some childcare to help them transition back into the work environment. And so that was a really big help. But what I'd say is creating a team to provide support for me in that time, making sure that in addition to family, I had someone to help me in my home and to help me with childcare made a really, really big difference because I was the
That's amazing.
only woman, right? The youngest. And so being able to have some support so that I could continue to be there in those critical moments of business
What was your
was a big.
position?
So at the time, I was a regional manager for
Oh,
the retail branches in my area, and so I had about 12 branches, about 200 employees, and
girl, you started
round the
out
clock.
on time. In my opinion, that's starting out really as a leader from day one.
Well, it was a blessing to be able to sort of grow up in the bank and
Mm,
develop my career. I started out with Chase as in a training and development program for leaders,
mm.
and then went to various role and responsibilities to learn my way around the bank. I became a banker, an assistant manager, a manager, and then a regional manager. That was about the time that we started our family. But I would just say being able to pivot, you named our this podcast Pivot the Pivoters. We do as women pivot from wearing many different hats. The hat we have to wear when we walk into the workplace, and then taking that hat off and putting on the mom hat when we go home, making sure that we have a team to
Mm.
support. I think that was a really pivotal moment. The other I would say is when I led a really large, multidimensional team. And so being responsible not just for the folks that reported into me a couple of levels down, but being responsible for 3 to 4 levels down
Oh
and
my God.
across geographies, being able to manage a team that I wasn't around every single day, that was really pivotal. But relationships make all the difference, and taking the time to build those relationships, build trust, demonstrate that you believe in folks, like really get to know them.
How did you deal with home at the same time?
So that's a great question. So they say you can have it all. I say you can have it all, but not all at the same time,
Oh,
right?
I
And
I like that.
so
Okay.
I think that what made a difference is when when the kids were little, I was fairly close to home and didn't have to travel quite as much. And
That's when you
then
were living in Texas
when
at
I
the
was
time.
living in
Okay.
Texas,
All right.
I was really close by. Most of my workday and my travel was throughout the city of Houston,
Mhm.
and so I was able to get home in the evenings,
Okay.
and again with the right support system, able to be there when the children were little, and then transition to leading teams over multiple geographies when they were a bit older and they had their own agendas.
Yes.
They have
Yes.
their own calendars and their
Yes.
own interests,
Yes.
but it helped, and so when I say you can't have it all at the same time, it's really making choices that balance, those things that are important to you in both your family and your work, and giving yourself permission to do so, and
Well,
recognizing you don't have to have it all at the same time.
because you've achieved so much and you've started out at the top, to be honest, you've been only going further and further and, in the top. I do, and that's why we wanted to have this podcast. I
Sure.
always wonder how home is managed at the same time. But did you have childcare? Did you take the kids out? And the
It's a
reason I'm
great question.
asking, I'll tell you, is because women sometimes are looked down upon when they
Mhm.
leave their kids at home
Mhm.
and they have to go to work. And I was always desirous of the white picket fence and staying home
Sure.
all the time. I couldn't do that.
Had
My
to work.
lifestyle wasn't that way. But how did you manage with the kids? Did you have in-home care?
I
Did you
did.
Okay.
I did. I was really blessed, and, um, I met the lady who became a part of our family, at the childcare
Okay.
that the firm provided,
Okay.
and she was just a lifesaver. She came in at a time that I really needed her support. I don't mind sharing, we're often also balancing as sort of the sandwich generation,
Yes.
care for our children and our parents. And at the
Yes.
time, my mother, God rest her soul, was ill.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we were also looking after her care.
Wow.
And so when my caregiver came into my life, she helped me across the board. She helped me with the children. She helped me with my home. She prayed for my mom and was there for my mom too. And so that's what I mean by having the right support system,
It means
giving yourself
everything.
permission. It means everything.
I think you just said it, giving yourself permission
Sure.
and releasing the guilt,
Indeed.
because of our faith, which you and I
Yes,
talk about, we guilt is not a part of that. We have to let that go.
exactly.
But I just see so many young people feeling like they can't do this and they can't do that. And I did want it all, like you,
Yes.
and I'm not saying we got it all because we had many bumps in the road, I know. But I have admired you from afar because I've known your background
Mhm.
and I said, goodness, another promotion.
Thank you.
Speaking of that,
Sure.
congratulations
Thank you.
because Ebony, I guess, named you one of the
Power
100
100.
powerful women in the world. Tell me about that
Thank you.
and how you got that.
Well,
Um,
I was so honored to receive Ebony Power 100 this past year. I
wow.
have to share, Pam, it really was sort of this collection of work that was done over many years, but also in partnership with so many. It really is an example of what can be done when we work together.
Yeah.
And so I accepted that award on behalf of so many that were able to get amazing things done in our communities across the country. And when I say it's a collection of many years, throughout my career, I've had the privilege to serve communities. It's a priority to me to give back to our communities and empower them. And
Mhm.
so being able to help so many across the country and right here in Los Angeles, I believe was just really such an honor to receive that award.
How have you navigated, expectations, failures, and I'm a believer that without
Absolutely.
failure, you never have success.
That's true.
Because so you have to learn. I'm a big proponent of the book Failing Forward.
Oh,
That
I
it,
like that.
yeah,
Hmm.
I love that because it also deals with having faith and knowing that when you get knocked down, you have to get up. I
Indeed.
was telling you before, I've been divorced and
Sure.
I have 5 kids and 5 grandchildren.
I think that's amazing. I don't know
So
how you do it.
and I'm still standing, and,
Yes.
and I work for families, so I have multiple things that have at times felt like failures, but how have you navigated what you've called those bumps in the road, and manage expectations, probably on the home front as well as that because
Absolutely.
yeah, especially at
Absolutely.
work. You're in corporate America,
For
so I
sure.
know you have goals that you have to meet, and you've obviously done it because 'cause you're still standing and you're still getting all these new
Well,
titles.
I appreciate it, but as you would probably agree, you don't really grow without failure. You don't learn new things without some difficulty without some things not working out.
Mhm.
And I think a big part of how I've navigated is, again, back to this thing of giving yourself permission, letting yourself know
Yep.
it's okay to try new
Yeah.
things and experiment, and know that if it doesn't work out, you still are on a path to success. You're still on your path to achieve your goals, and it's okay. And I think it's also important not only to give yourself permission, but to give the people around you,
Mm.
both at home,
Yes.
right? Our children, where we want them to believe that they can try things and fail and still be able to get right back up,
Yes.
and to create an environment where you're testing and learning. Doesn't testing and learning sound a lot better than failure? I
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
putting it
No,
in that
no,
context.
because that gives you a chance to say, "Oh, they're giving grace."
Exactly,
Yeah, you have to give a lot of
exactly.
grace, and you seem to do it effortlessly. So, as you and I talk all the time, I'm very fascinated with what was it like to move from Texas to California, still, again, not fall along the way
Sure.
with your children and your husband. That emotionally, that had to be very difficult for kids, number one, because they're leaving their friends.
Right.
You're leaving your network of support,
Indeed.
and you're meeting all these new people. How did you do this?
It was no small task, to say the least. So to your point, it's to pick up everything.
Mm.
And, when you get there, you need an orthodontist and you need doctors,
Yes.
you need a school. Um, it was quite the move. Um, what I'll say, and not to mention coming here and building a bank, because
Mhm.
as our name was not known on the West Coast. We got here as a result of a
That's hard to believe
merger.
right now because 'cause you're everywhere. But anyway, go ahead.
But at the time,
Mhm.
folks didn't know the name
Wow,
Chase. And so I
that's
had a
true.
big responsibility on that side, and then moving my family on the other side. But I keep going back to having a network. So
Mm.
unfortunately, I had to leave my wonderful um, caregiver behind. Miss Mary was her name. By the way, so many of my friends wanted to know, so who is Miss Mary going to help now that you all are gone? I said, Miss Mary is going to relax now that we're gone.
Right.
But getting here and then finding support. And Pam, I don't know if you know that my husband was born and raised in Los Angeles.
I only learned that today
Yes.
because I told you the Porché name is very famous in Louisiana.
Yes.
So and I'm from New Orleans, so, I
So
always
you know
thought
the name.
yeah, I always thought you guys are he originated from there, so
Yeah, his
yeah.
father, was born and raised in Lake Charles,
Okay.
and after the military, he settled here in Los Angeles, met my mother-in-law, and raised
Okay.
her family here. So,
Okay.
what was interesting about this move for my work was that he was coming home, and we
Oh,
were met here by
interesting.
my mother and father-in-law and my
Oh,
sister-in-laws and the network of friends and family that we had been visiting for almost 20 years. We had been married almost 20 years
so
when
the
we
kids
moved
had
here.
grandparents they could be around and yeah, cousin.
Cousins,
Oh,
so they
wow.
were able to
Okay.
connect
So
with their
this
cousins.
was a good move.
It was, and still challenging, the difficulty of moving your whole family across the country and starting something new, but that network. And so I really want to underscore the importance of giving yourself permission
Yes.
to find your community, find your network.
Yes.
In my case, I was fortunate to have family here, but also the friends that were friends that we had met years before and established once we were here created a community, a village, if you will.
This was your second home anyway.
Indeed,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it makes a difference, and I think so many of us don't give ourselves permission to create that community we need, because in addition to all the logistics you have to figure out, you need folks that you can just gather with and
That you
exhale
trust.
and trust and have a
How old were the
conversation.
kids?
They were 10 and 12.
Oh, okay, so they
So
were a bit older and you didn't have the same concerns as you had before.
right, but still them getting established. My daughter was starting middle school, she was a preteen. That can be a challenging time in a young
Oh,
girl's
yes.
life, and,
Oh, yes. Oh,
but,
yes.
we made the transition in large part because we had, a network,
Okay,
and so I
okay.
think it's important. I now have so many of my team working across the country that have relocated for a business opportunity or relocated with a spouse that has work in another place, and I encourage them, create that network. And I did so, Pam, a couple years ago here, a network of professional women for the opportunity to sit down and talk about what's happening in your lives, both personally and professionally, to give yourself a place to just be. And it's just so important.
You seem to have the spirit, I won't say where I know where it's coming from, but you
Indeed.
you seem to have the spirit of, being a good listener,
Thank you.
and, and I think I
You
am one
certainly do
too,
as well.
and to be a good leader, you really do have to listen and care about what's important to who reports to you.
Indeed.
And you had how many employees did you have when you came from Chase? Because I have to say, I'm a big Chase lover
Oh,
now because
appreciate it.
really because of the relationships that we've developed with you and others. But, yeah, how do you manage people and, and what do you really look for that makes you better and them better?
Well, first, I want to say thank you. You may not remember this, but when I first landed here, I had the opportunity to sit down with you and Danny Jr., and I got a chance to meet Danny Sr. But you all were just so gracious to me and to my team. You helped us understand what the opportunities were
I
in
think I
Los
remember
Angeles.
that on a top floor somewhere out there, but now
Indeed.
I'm remembering. You're
But you were
right.
so gracious
Oh,
to
thank
offer
you.
your help to help
Thank you.
us navigate and build relationships. Um, I've said, will be on a journey for many, many years to come to continue to build trust and build relationships. Los Angeles is very important to Chase,
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen without
Yeah, and you were new to
relationships.
the town
Indeed.
at the time. You were
Indeed.
building all these branches. Now you're helping me to remember because I thought you're everywhere. I feel like you've always been here,
We
but
have
you
we
were a
have
part of
several
that team.
locations now,
I
but again,
remember.
it started with wonderful partnerships with trusted members of the community and certainly the Bakewell family and
Yeah.
all of your
Oh,
enterprises and
yeah.
all of your community work. It was just such a gift to be able to build a relationship, and we've learned a lot. We've done a lot. There's so much more we want to do, but I just wanted to say thank you. But I want to go back to your question. You asked me, how was I navigating the team? I had a little over 500 bankers throughout the region that I was
Wow.
responsible for. At the time, I was exclusively managing our small business unit. So
Mm,
think businesses from startup to roughly 20 million in annual sales.
my
If they were a
goodness.
customer of Chase, they were a part of my portfolio and my team managed them. And so I managed managers who managed bankers. And so being able to create an environment where folks could show up, feel empowered to really serve their clients and build deep relationships, to be able to help their clients with their needs, to be able to assess their needs and be able to match their needs with services that we could provide, and to build relationships that are going to stand the test of time. I think those are
Wow.
really critical elements for people to feel good when they come into work every day, to feel proud of the work they're doing, that they're helping businesses grow stronger, they're helping their local community. I think you'd agree, small businesses are the backbone of our
Yes,
society.
they really are.
Without them, where would we be?
Yes.
And so it was just really important to me to create an environment where employees felt empowered to really be there for their clients and serve their clients in a way where they could serve their constituency and their employees.
So what happens when Deidra is overwhelmed?
Well,
And, and it sounds overwhelming to me already just to hear everything that you have to do, but I can relate. So,
sure.
I
You have to care
understand.
for yourself
Yeah,
though, right?
but what do you do to recharge? I mean, obviously, you have built a safe haven at home, and
Praise
that's
God. Yes. Thank
important,
you.
that you focus on family, and I know all I can say to whoever's listening, that is not an easy feat
It's not.
because you either crying babies or teenagers or
Right.
whatever, and then you go to work and you have to be happy,
Exactly.
yeah,
Got to be
yeah,
on
I
when
mean,
you're at work.
I'm sure Chase is like, "Deidre's the best she can be," and you might have had the worst night of your life, you know,
You have to be
disciplining your
on.
kids,
Right.
so how do you navigate that?
Well, I definitely have learned along the way that if you don't give yourself room um, to exhale, to relax, if you don't care for yourself, and I know self care is kind of the cliche these days, but it is really important to
It
take
is,
time for yourself. And
it is.
so I've built in some routines that have helped me. One of the routines is going to get a massage once every 6 weeks or so. It typically is around the time that I get back from
Oh,
travel. So being on an airplane and can really take it out of you. And so getting a massage. I've also I'm constantly adopting new forms of exercise
uh-huh.
that I enjoy, and the latest for me is Pilates. I love Pilates. A Pilates studio opened just down the street from my home,
I heard about
and
that,
Club
yes.
Pilates, and
Mhm,
it's a neighborhood
mhm.
club,
Yep,
and so I'm
yep.
really enjoying that. But just having fun ways. I like to hike.
Oh.
I do a little running, not a whole lot.
Do you do that with your husband or your kids, or you have a friend, or you do it alone?
So I do like to hike with like friends and family. My husband, no, I'm still trying to get him off the couch, but
Well, they
but
see, I love that's realistic. All right,
that's
ladies,
real.
gentlemen that's listening,
Yes,
that's a
yes.
real testament to
Yes,
marriage.
right, it's just right, but
That's
he
funny.
he's trying to swim a little bit, but typically I'll do, hikes with my daughter or my son, but I've always loved group exercise, and that's
Hmm.
why going to the Pilates class is a nice getaway, but as you can imagine, I spend a lot of time on the road and in
Yes.
hotels, and
Well,
so
that's what fascinates me
mhm,
about your career.
mhm,
As I read your bio, is you're always traveling,
I am.
even getting this booked.
Yes.
Well, let me see if
Sure.
Deidre's in town. And
Indeed.
that's like on a weekly basis. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what fascinates me more than anything. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, now I'm learning you've been with Chase a long time. So you obviously have a good employer.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I'm not just saying that. I
Appreciate it.
do hear that more than just from you, that Chase cares about its people.
They do.
And
They
that
really
makes a
do.
big difference. But yeah, self-care and exercise. I actually started with personal training. I was doing it last year. My
Oh,
daughters keep
wow.
me active in that
That's
regard. So it's really
great.
good to have kids that have grown up. They become your
Indeed.
friends.
They do, and they give you
Yeah.
suggestions, right?
Yeah, well, now I'm actually at a studio I started last week, and I
Oh,
go 3
wow.
days a week with a personal trainer,
That's
but it
fantastic.
really I just wanna live the best life to
Indeed.
until this God decides it's no longer I don't know need to be here any longer.
Right. You wanna
But,
live your
yeah,
best
I
life
wanna
and
live my
feel your
best life.
best
Yes, yes,
and be able to be present,
yes, yes.
and be in good health in the process, and so
Exactly, yeah.
I just encourage I talk to, like you, I'm sure, talk to women about how to, keep that balance and how to have energy, how to maintain your energy and not burn out.
And you don't always have to have money. I think people
No,
assume, "Well, I can't afford the personal trainer," and that's understandable. You might have someone in your family who knows how to just keep you
exactly.
accountable.
And
So I would encourage that.
there's so many resources out there that are no charge. There's so many fitness
Yes.
apps out there
That's true.
that you can use.
That's
And
true.
I always say you can always walk, hike. That's free.
Right.
So wherever you are, and in beautiful Los Angeles, we've got some hills that will really challenge you if you want to get
Abs
outside and you want
absolutely.
to be
Absolutely.
mobile. So.
And what people don't realize, you get to a certain age,
Mhm.
your health insurance will make it free. So,
Exactly.
and I'm probably a big proponent when I found out about silver sneakers.
Oh,
My sister-in-law said, you can go free." I don't use that gym, but
wow.
And I was like, "See, we don't even know
Another
what's there."
benefit. There's
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
out there
yeah. So
that
there's
you
no
but the
excuse.
point is to your is to really prioritize yourself.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
time for yourself and
yeah, and
recognize
not
the
feel guilty
importance.
about it.
Indeed, give yourself the room and
Yes,
permission so that you
yes,
can recharge and you can be
yes,
available to
yes,
others, for
yes,
sure.
yes. Well, for sure. Well, all I can say is I need to ask, what would you like our audience to know about you that I haven't asked the right questions that you want to share? Your nuggets, your little tidbits of wisdom. I mean, we're this conversation is not totally over,
Sure.
but yeah,
Yes.
eh,
I think it's really to, shape your own goals. Um, you are in charge of what success looks like in your
mm,
life. So, we've this theme that we've had is pivoting and giving yourself permission, pivoting
yes, yeah,
and giving yourself permission. Give yourself permission to establish what you believe to be the measure of real success. My entire life, I have wanted to be available to people, to be helpful to my community, helpful to my employees. That's important to me. And so, as I've made choices on the type of work I'd like to do and how I want to be engaged in my local community, how I want to serve and volunteer, it's really been shaped around that is what success looks like for me. When folks are better off, when I've had an opportunity to influence someone positive, I feel successful. I can lay my head on the pillow at night and feel good about what I've done. And as we've talked about our faith, it's really important to me that what I've been blessed with blesses others. And
yes,
so it's
yes.
just, I would just say, define success for you and give yourself permission.
I love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. So, Deidre, one of the things I wanted to ask you, how do you connect your work and service and building relationships? I mean, you've kind of talked about all of this, and
Hmm.
it goes back to who you are. And I want to touch upon projects that you think, we really want the audience to know about. Those are part of your accomplishments. And we're here today to learn more about how you got to all of these major titles.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, as we alluded to earlier, I didn't get here by myself. It
Mm,
has so much to do with the work that I have the privilege to lead. And I would say, in a nutshell, we help consumers gain access to practical tools, resources, information, and education to empower them to reach their financial goals.
mm,
And so we host workshops both in our branches and in our local community, and we help them with things like budgeting, savings, retirement planning. We also coach small businesses on how to start, run, and grow their businesses. And so, working in partnership with organizations like yours to gain access to our local community, whether they be a client or not, you don't have to bank at Chase to get access to these resources,
that's fascinating.
and they're
Right, just
free.
that. Right.
Well, and we feel that we have a real responsibility to help folks get access
Mm,
to information that really will power their dream, allow them to set goals, and then have the information and the resources to
mm.
achieve those goals. And it has been really a wonderful journey. We've been doing these workshops throughout the country and also here. Just this past year, we hosted a little over 1,000 workshops and been able to see many, many clients and community members come through and be able to get on a path to achieving their goals, whether it's working to get on a path to home ownership or
Mhm.
planning for their child's education or retirement planning. As we talked earlier, small businesses are really the backbone of society. And in Los Angeles, as you know, there are many, many small businesses.
Yes, yes.
In fact, Los Angeles County has the largest number of small businesses countywide than any other county in the nation.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of people don't realize that
Wow.
Los Angeles is a real small business town.
But you helped to establish this, like, neighborhood branch, I don't know what you call it,
Yes, the
but
community
I know,
center
yeah,
branch.
on Vernon and Crenshaw,
And you
That
all
was
are
yeah.
our landlords. We love it and
So,
we appreciate
but
it.
that's something I'm glad we're touching upon that because it's something new, and I know you're building more,
We are,
and it's
yes,
obviously a success. So that's one of the projects I want you to talk about because people need to know they can
indeed.
go there and do more than just open a checking account.
Absolutely. And by the way, the partnership, once again, partnership is what makes this work
Yes.
happen. To be able to partner with you all to establish this community center branch it's the Crenshaw Community Center branch is what it's entitled, but it's a beautiful flagship location with plenty of room for events and workshop. There's lovely soft seating. We have local artwork from local artists on the wall. And it's an inviting and welcoming space for our community to be able to come in and, to your point, participate in workshops or activities, events that we have that are all designed to empower people.
How do you publish those, assets and those
The
workshops
workshops.
so the community could know about them?
Absolutely. Well, the best way that the word is getting out is literally through word of mouth in terms of our community managers who sit at the center of these partnerships. They are the ones who build relationships and conduct the workshops. They partner with local stakeholders, business leaders, nonprofits, local businesses, civic leaders, and share with them what's happening so that they can also help invite customers out. We also have digital content in the locations. And so while people are there doing their normal banking business, they have the opportunity to learn about workshops and upcoming events. We
Hmm,
also have had an opportunity to be a part of Black Money Matters
I
podcast
know,
and
I
be
know,
able to share
I know.
some of the activities
But
that
look,
are up and
this
coming.
conversation now I'm going, okay, we got to do better there and
Yes,
start telling people about it even through our digital side,
we want to definitely get
because
the word out.
we want our local community. People now, I always say seniors and others are
Mhm.
using social media, their phones, because one time it was hard to go from a rotary phone
Right.
to a touch tone phone to now phones, but there's really not an age gap anymore.
No, there
So folks
isn't.
are, seniors are like, I'm on Instagram. And so,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
we are, doing better in that regard in really, really enhancing. And thanks to Chase and your partnership, you help us to do that. So we balance each other. But we really, after this, we need to talk about making sure we get those messages out on what's happening at the branch
Absolutely.
because this is our network,
It's
and we
important.
want to, we learn from each other. But I'm always fascinated. You do a great job there,
Thank you. Well,
and the
you all have
people are
helped
great.
also. You've helped too. When I think about your assets like the Taste of Soul Festival, that's one of the ways that we're able to share what we're doing in the branch and invite people. We're able to register
That's true.
people
Yeah,
to make them aware of upcoming workshops. Again, I'd go back to you can't
partnership.
partnership. You
Yeah,
can't do any of
and
this alone. You
relationship.
have to have relationships with folks who know what the needs of the community are. And you
It
mentioned
really
earlier
makes a
some of
difference.
it makes a big
It makes a
difference.
difference. Yeah.
I'll also mention that one of my responsibilities now, you mentioned a promotion. I'll just say at Chase, we love for folks to have lots of work. We don't want anybody to be
Oh,
be
welcome to
bored.
my world too.
As you can identify with that,
Okay.
but I'm kidding. I'm really privileged to have recently assumed the responsibility of being the regional market leadership
Wow.
team chair. So
Wow.
what that means is I have the opportunity to partner with other leaders across Los Angeles and throughout the West market. These are leaders that run businesses at Chase that
I was
help.
gonna ask, they're Chase
They
leaders.
are Chase.
Okay.
They're all Chase leaders, and they're responsible for different facets of business, from commercial banking to private banking to, as I shared earlier, business banking and consumer, and they all have the responsibility of supporting customers and supporting the local community. So we come together so that we can make decisions and be able to show up when things are happening in our local community. One of the things I'm really proud of is how that team led us coming together in with the recent wildfires and being able to
Mm.
respond right away as we showed up and provided resources. Um, Created volunteer opportunities for our employees. Employees were able to donate and help support Los Angeles getting back on its feet, and so
This is where our relationship has
indeed.
grown because we did a wildfire conference last year.
Mhm.
Chase was one of the sponsors. We had
Exactly.
600 attendees in Eden
That's
Canyon.
amazing.
And so it just shows the power of the press, the power of, media in getting people together. Folks left there with good information. We may do some small part too this year.
Right, but
But
that
we're always,
partnership
yeah, the
makes a
partnership.
difference.
And people ask sometimes, how do we do things? Well, it's really relationships. And thank you for yours. When we got the permit to do the Martin Luther King parade this
Mhm.
year, which we now call LA's official MLK Day parade, it was probably 2 days after Taste of Soul.
Oh my
So we
goodness.
only had 2
So
months
much
to
work.
plan this, and
Right.
it was a tremendous success.
Yes, it
And
was.
yeah, a lot of we have to learn from any mistakes that happen, but that's
Well, we
everything.
didn't see any mistakes.
Let
All
me
we saw was a great parade
w
put on
well,
by a great community partner and family,
what I
so
found out, the reason I mentioned it
mhm,
is Chase they gave us, oh, no, they do every year
mhm.
help with volunteerism.
Yes.
And we didn't have time to really shore that up, and someone said, "Well, Chase gives us at least 50 volunteers." I said, "Well,
Right.
we didn't call them." I said,
Well,
"Trust me, this year,
we
we'll be
will.
calling you
That's one of the
early."
learnings. But that again,
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I'm most proud of is how we come together when in times of challenge and
it's true.
difficulty to be responsive to the community. And what I love about our partnership is you all have tremendous reach.
Mm,
Um, Both in terms of relationships
yeah,
that
we're
you
very
have and
blessed.
credibility here,
Yeah,
and your media reach, and who better to be responsible for addressing financial concerns and understanding what resources are available than Chase and
yeah,
then a bank.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
get an opportunity to do
And
what
you're
we
right
can
in the
do.
heart of,
Indeed,
the community in Crenshaw community.
indeed.
And so everybody sees you, but your people now are out there or have been for a while. It's not like it just happened.
Well,
But
to
yeah.
that you made me think about, Pam, that just in just the period of time that the Crenshaw Community Center has been there, we have hosted over 3,000 individuals through these workshops.
Wow.
It's the location
Wow.
that we have the privilege
Wow.
of sharing with you,
Wow.
and so it just goes to show you that with the right partnerships, you can really make a significant impact.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank
really
you.
proud of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Pam, you have to tell me, how do you balance all that you are doing? So, you have been responsible for so much with Bakewell Media, and you're a mom, and you have grandkids, and you look fabulous all the time.
Thank you.
So, I have to know, how do you balance so many different things?
Well, there's really no one answer because I think every day I'm always thinking about it.
Hmm.
But I do want to mention, I work in a family business and
Sure.
I've worked with my brother, who's Danny Bakewell Sr.,
Right.
since the early 80s. So I
It's
have
amazing.
had 5 children within this environment
That is amazing.
before anybody talked about HR and
Right.
doing, having 6 weeks off. And he said, "Don't you, 3 weeks should be enough, right?"
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to put him down, but that's the environment that, the world was in
Sure,
before they
absolutely.
really knew it was important. But I always wanted a family. I didn't know I was married twice.
Mhm.
So I had, my daughters, but we're one big family.
That's
And then
wonderful.
my brother and I are the only siblings.
Mhm.
So when you ask me how I balance, I'm fortunate that when I moved to Los Angeles, I started working with my brother shortly thereafter. He said to me, "You have a college degree. I need somebody with a college degree. I don't pay well, but I just but since you're related to me, I
And
need to
look at
do it.
what you all have built.
So
Amazing.
so I was always who he threw things to. So we do have a great rhythm as a family,
That's great.
of respect for each other.
Mhm.
Danny's has always been a major civil rights leader out there. So when you ask me how I balance,
Mhm.
I just do. You know,
You
you and I
just get it done.
talked about when things were thrown at me.
Mhm.
I didn't have a book. I didn't know how to do it. When we
Mhm.
got the Sentinel, and he said, "Oh, guess what? We have great opportunity." I've been asked to buy the Sentinel, and I'm like, "We don't know
Amazing.
anything about that. We just started doing real estate, and we're in the nonprofit world because I was a director of Brotherhood Crusade. I hired Sharice
Wonderful
Fremont,
organization.
so
Love Cherise.
I trained Sharice.
Oh,
She
amazing.
was my mentee. So I've been in many different areas of our business, from the nonprofit roles to our real estate development business, building shopping centers, managing shopping centers,
It's
to
amazing.
taking over Bakewell Media. And a lot of people don't know all those things about me.
So many
Meanwhile, I
different
was having
facets.
children too, because I used to do payroll deduction with Brother Crusade.
Mhm.
And he said, "Every time you come, you seem to be pregnant." So,
So you did it
yeah, but
all.
those are the behind the scenes things that we as women have to manage. So when I
Absolutely.
ask you those questions, it's
Mhm.
because I've lived that life.
Did you have help, Pam?
Well, it's interesting. I hear you talk about the help you
Mhm.
had. I didn't have a lot of money,
Mhm.
so I had to figure it out. So I went to
Sure.
the local church that I went to. I said,
That's a
"Can you help
blessing.
me to find somebody to help me?"
Right.
Because my brother is a taskmaster. He
Yes.
said, "That was your choice to have children,
Mhm.
so you still have to be here on time."
Oh
I
my
was never
goodness.
late for work,
Wow.
and I had to stay late, and I had to go to evening events because he always said, "You are an executive, I mean, it's the old-fashioned way of managing,
Sure.
so I had to work out my home life.
Right.
There's obviously a sensitive my mother lived in New Orleans, so I didn't
Mhm.
have that family
Didn't have
help.
the family help.
So church helped, and I was able to get a
That's a
live-in,
blessing.
and I did my own nails, I cut my own hair, I did
Wow.
my own hair. I managed. I mean, I didn't do things the way people thought. We were not a wealthy family.
Mhm.
We didn't grow up with a lot.
Mhm.
Dan and I were the only two siblings in a very modest neighborhood of New Orleans, Louisiana,
Wow.
shotgun home. So I was really used to doing things, but I did go to college. Had great in St. Louis, Missouri. So I had opportunities, went to private school,
Mhm.
even with not having a lot, Catholic school.
You prioritize.
My mother taught me to prioritize, and one of the
Mhm.
things she taught me, getting back to how I take care of myself, I she always said, "Make sure when you leave the house, you look a certain way."
There you
Very
go.
Southern.
Simple but
Very Southern.
effective
Don't go out with your
advice.
rollers. Don't go to the store with a house coat on.
Look put together,
Look
right?
put together. And that's still instilled in me. And some people might say, "Oh, you're getting older, but you don't
No,
look
you
this way."
always look
But
fantastic.
I do it for me. I
That's
don't do
great.
it for the world. I'm not doing it to show off. It makes me feel good when I leave the house that I've done something to make me feel good for the day. And part of it is I want women to know it's never, you don't really grow into looking a certain way.
Mhm.
You get
You
to
have to
choose the way you want to look. Age doesn't define us.
right. You
And I'm keeping my brain healthy by working, I think,
indeed.
and redefining how I work. So, yeah, I have 5 adult children. And I did have a live in and I had help. And I managed. I mean, I
Well,
just
it
did
just
what I
seems
had to
that
do.
indeed, it seems that you made it happen. And so much of that shows up in the work that you all have done in the
Yes.
Los Angeles community. You're such a trusted voice. You've been in so many different spaces from real estate to community engagement to
Yes.
nonprofit. You're really just a trusted leader in the community. And so, transitioning over to talk about that work, what's important about being a leader in the Los Angeles community, and how do you get that done every day?
Well, the Big One name now means something in
Mhm.
Los Angeles,
Yes, it
and
does.
again, I can't just put it all on my brother. I've contributed to that. My nephew
You have.
contribute. We work we work as a unit,
Sure.
and we do many, many different things, which is why we're also master pivoters.
Mhm.
I told him, "I don't know if we have ADHD or what's going
Well,
on,"
if it's a
but
little known fact that many leaders have
I trust me,
ADHD.
I always tell Danny, "You just weren't diagnosed, but something happened."
They just have
You know,
so many
because I
ideas.
can go from one project to another in the same
Absolutely.
setting and get them accomplished. So,
That's wonderful.
but relationships have meant a lot. We're really
Sure.
blessed that, I always say we can go from the boardroom to the community room, and that's rare. And I've witnessed it when I'm welcomed in community meetings as opposed to booed,
I love
and
it.
people feel
I
like
love
we
it.
go in with a listening ear and that we're trusted. And that if they do business with us, their message will be honestly told. That is a big deal, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot to our family that people do business with us because they believe that we're going to tell the truth. We times when things have happened that are not so pleasant in our community, we try to tell
Right.
both sides.
Mhm.
But most important, we have been here when people knock on the door. I was here early one morning when Esau Ford, I believe, had been shot,
Oh,
and his grandmother was at our door. His grandmother's aunt, and please come and help us because
wow.
we don't know what to do. And I said, "Wow, we may be a newspaper, but people still remember, our
Absolutely.
daily advocacy." So
Exactly.
we're more than a newspaper. We're a voice that they feel they can trust. And Danny quickly sent one of our editors with the grandmother to her
Mhm.
house to talk to the police, but to sit there, she felt they wouldn't take advantage of her
Wow. So
at that
again,
time.
just
So
that
that's a
trust
story, a
that's
behind
built.
the scenes story and we followed that story and, for a long time, mainly because she came to us for a reason.
Right.
She didn't want to, be bombarded with a non-trusted source.
That's one of the things that Chase have really enjoyed about the partnership. As I mentioned earlier, we are building trust. And in order to do so, we have to partner. We have the privilege of partnering with you all where we're aligned as it relates to what we value and how we show up for community. One of the ways that we've been able to do that is publishing in the Sentinel and being able
Yes.
to share
Yes.
financial
Yes.
education information.
Yes.
We know it's important to you all to empower the community to manage their finances, also important to us, but we've been able to leverage the trusted brand and the relationships that you have in order to get that information out to the
Well,
public.
even coming up with new ways to tell that story.
Mhm.
You have a great team when they need the Sentinel and want to put their message out, come into the Sentinel. We've evolved into the podcast.
Which has been
So, and
fabulous.
it was Chase that really let us enter that.
I was on one of the
that
first podcasts,
Yes,
so it
you
was
were
so
on the
much
one of the
fun.
first podcasts, which
Mhm.
says a lot to we're willing to take risk. We're willing
Indeed.
to venture. We know that as a 93-year-old newspaper that we
Amazing.
have to grow and we have to continue to be very strong in the digital space to
Right.
make our corporate and community partners happy and public servants happy. But most importantly, you've believed in us. So, I hope that we can do more
Absolutely.
messaging on the things you have on our social side because we are growing there. We had 250,000 people looking at us during the MLK parade,
That's
and
fascinating.
that's on our social side. And so I'm putting all those stats together, but that's major,
That's
which is why
exciting.
events is very important for Black media to survive and become diversified. We can't just be stuck. So I think that's where we are good with relationships. We
Mhm.
find out what you need, meaning partners like Chase, and then we go back and we think about how we can make that happen. We may not have that right now, but we're definitely willing to try.
Well, the podcast is a perfect example of
Yeah.
how you've done that and how you continue to be innovative and think about ways to show up for and serve the local community and make sure they have access to those things that they need in partnership with
Yeah.
others. You all are blazing trails that I hope other media companies around the country will follow because it's important and the
Yeah.
voice is truly important.
And managing money causes home problems. I
Indeed.
mean, we talk about it
Yes.
privately, but it's good that we put it out there because even people listening today, yeah, we are to most people, yeah, they may see us as, "Oh, they've made it." But it wasn't
No,
easy, and
indeed.
managing
One
money
step at a
was not
time and
easy.
making mistakes,
Oh
as
my
we talked
goodness.
about
I mean,
earlier.
for me,
Indeed.
I have both sides because I was raising 5 kids.
Mhm,
I was divorced,
mhm.
so I had a lot going on at home, but I had to show up like I was a perfect
Absolutely, and get
executive
it done,
and
right?
get it done.
Get
So I
things
still had to
done.
work. So, I want people to know our mental health is very important. I want
Sure.
women to really watch this, and even men
Mhm,
watching this who are managing women,
mhm.
who have wives that are going through emotional needs and, ups and downs, who still have to work. We aren't all blessed to be able to stay home and raise our kids, but that's not a downside.
No,
It's wonderful if you have that opportunity, but everybody does not. But don't think of yourself as, being deprived. Just think of it as an opportunity to grow because your kids are watching you. You and I talked about how your
absolutely.
daughter looks up to you. I have 2 daughters. We're really like besties, at this point.
Yes.
And my sons, I mean, they call
Mhm.
me every day. So I think I know how to manage a team because I had to manage 5 kids, and
Right.
they're all so different. And now they're adults and have new problems. And, so,
It never
and it
ends.
never
It never
ends,
ends.
but neither does work when you are passionate about what you do. I do what I do,
Absolutely.
and I've people say, "When are you gonna retire?" Well, I've
Mhm.
redefined and called repositioned. So I repositioned. I've had every title this company could ever give me.
I can't imagine you retired, Pam,
Well,
though.
I think it's keeping my brain working. So, I
Exactly.
just had a great physical recently, but
That's
it's
so
it's
good.
really about keeping your mental health straight. But that doesn't mean we don't have down days. But again, getting back to relationships,
Mhm,
it's feels good to have good corporate
mhm.
relationships, good community relationships, and to be respected amongst your family and friends
Indeed.
and business colleagues. Those are priceless nuggets that money can't buy, that we have to really value. Again, we both talked about our faith,
Mhm.
and for me, that has kept me through and navigating those
100%.
ups and downs. So I would say to anybody watching today, you can have it all, but
Mhm.
all means something different to everybody.
And you get to choose that if at,
Yes.
what success looks like in that.
Yes.
So as you think about the impact that you would like for, to leave on the community, how would you characterize what success looks like? What from an impact perspective, what would you like to see?
Well, from impact as a family
Mhm.
is that, we have made our name respected,
Sure.
and that the impact is that people know that we are not gonna let them down,
Love that.
that we will carry through, that, professionally, we are there to continue to care about the community,
Indeed.
and that I think we do have an impact there. People come because 'cause we're trusted, and that trust is a lot. Personally, I want people to know I'm human like
Mhm.
everybody else, and I do listen, and I care. When I lead, I wanna walk into a room. I had an assistant one time tell me, "You don't come in and lead with, a big stick, you lead with influence." That has stuck
That's
with me
wonderful.
for my most of my career, that how I walk into a room and how I lead a room, even when I'm angry. I do this with my children.
I don't
I'm
think
not
I've ever seen you
I'm
angry,
not a
Pam.
yeller. That doesn't mean I'm not firm.
Sure.
That doesn't mean I can't terminate people.
Absolutely. Do what it
I just
takes.
don't have to do it with anger. My kids would tell you I was not that person,
Mhm.
and, but they all did their homework, and they all went to college, and they all graduated from
So
college,
you
so I
were
had to do
able to
something
influence
right. Yeah,
exactly.
I had to do something, and you're really all good human beings. My
That's
sons are
great.
great fathers. That means more. That's really my legacy. My
That's
legacy is my
success.
children. I mean, I talk about career, and
Mhm.
I love it. I love all that I do with the community, but nothing is like what I have with my kids, you
Well,
know?
it reaches into every space. The values that you've shared about how you've had to pivot and how you and your brother worked to just get the things done that needed to be done to
Yes.
help develop, the business and help grow the community,
Yes.
and how in you also raised a family, a loving family. A- all of those values, they go between both work and home,
Yeah.
and they build community and they build legacy
That
and
is.
they build relationships and they build
Yeah.
partnerships. So
Yes.
kudos to you, Pam. You have done it all. I can say on behalf of JP Morgan Chase that we're extremely grateful for this partnership, and we look forward to it continuing to grow.
Thank
We
you.
want to be innovative alongside you, and
Thank
we
you.
want to help strengthen the local community here in Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to say one last thing. I do want to acknowledge that I work with my nephew now, Danny J. Bakewell Jr., who is
Yes,
now president of our company. That's
that's
how we're building
amazing.
the future, is by making
Remarkable.
sure that we are not ending things with me and my brother, that it's my nephew's there. My niece Brandy is now working with my
That's
daughter.
great.
Amira works with us, as well as
Love
a
that.
wonderful staff. So we
It's
are
fascinating.
continually looking to the future beyond us. And I do want to say for most families, that's financial planning is important, but thinking about the future, not being selfish about it is
It's
very
well said.
important. It's not just about me and Danny. Yeah, we
Indeed.
were here. We knew each other's kids. We knew each other's adults, and we won't be here one day. But the Bakewell Company, Los Angeles Sentinel, needs to be here another 93
I
years,
love that.
and so we have to look at planning, and that comes to financial planning
You have
to
to have
make
both
sure you have
sides.
to have planning, and
You
you.
and Danny should write a book.
Well, I am working on one for Danny, and my kids tell
Wow, of
me I
course
need
you are.
I need my but yeah, and a documentary
I love it.
on Danny,
I
and
love
I
it.
want to, and my daughter say, "Mom, your perspective is gonna be so different, but you walk together, but how you navigated life within that same world is completely different."
That's a movie and a book, Pam. I'm just telling you, get ready. Like,
Yeah,
get ready.
yeah, and we
Telling that story, to be honest, is I'm sure one that many folks will want to hear and
yeah,
learn from.
yeah,
I'm fascinated by all you all have accomplished and continue to. And so I'm excited that you all plan to tell
thank
that
you.
story.
Thank you. We are planning, definitely. If I ever get to it and stop doing new projects,
Exactly.
I'll get to that
There's
one. That's my
always
passion.
something.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't want us to leave this earth without people really knowing, what where we came from
Hmm.
and how we navigated this, and so that the future and our grandkids could know it too.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for today.
I want to thank you, Deidra, for agreeing to this. It's been my passion to have you come out. I say it
My
every time
pleasure.
I run into you. I really appreciate it. I've learned even more about you. I'm an admirer, and as I said before, I see you, and obviously Chase does too.
Well, thank you. And I have long admired you and your work and all the
Oh,
things
thank
that
you.
you and your family have created. Such a trusted voice in this community. And we've certainly benefited from partnering with you. Thank you for the relationship and just keep doing the amazing things that you all are doing. You're
Thank you.
helping so many people.
We're gonna be around for a while, and I'm sure you will too. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's
yeah,
that's the plan. That's the
yes.
plan.